Howdy and welcome back to Dakota's Projects. We are back at the Duraburb project here, so we had just gotten the body off and rolled the chassis back. That's basically where we stopped. So I've done a little walking around trying to just absorb the situation. There's a lot more stuff on this one that the Duramax does not have. I believe there's some type of like air or electric ride control of some type. You know, the light was on the dash. I'm assuming I'm just going to disable all of those things and just put regular shocks in it. There's a little electronic, I guess, plug on the top of each of the shocks, and yeah, there's some weird stuff going on. Also, this has twin tanks. I did know that, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do the whole fuel system itself. So I kind of have a game plan. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can completely eliminate the back tank, which may still be on the table. I believe it's a 37-gallon total capacity, so a real good fuel capacity, but the big tank is 26 and the other one is 11. How they sit currently, I'm not sure how they work, but I know that the filler neck is wide off. You fill them both, yada, yada, yada. The fuel gauge is gauged off of both of them. I'm tempted to build it as like an auxiliary tank. So it wouldn't have any of the brains to tell it, you know, hey, this is how much is in here. But when I start getting low in my big tank, I can manually flip a switch and put 11 gallons in it. It's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know. I might just completely can it. 26 is more than enough. I believe that's actually the capacity that is on what was on like the donor truck, you know, any crew cab short box diesel pickup. So the fuel lines we're going to throw away. The brake lines look good. I think we're gonna try and leave them on and get them blasted. They got some surface rust, but there's no need to try and buy, you know, a stainless kit and go through the work of trying to pre-bend them. You'll never get them to look as nice as the factory routing. Yanking the axles out, basically all of the wiring, and then obviously the engine, transmission, transfer case, and drive shafts all got to come out. We're gonna end up yanking the core support, taking that off. The front bumper is gonna come off. We want to get as much strip from this frame as humanly possible, just to make sure we get the best bang for our buck when it comes to sandblasting. So you want to get everything off of the frame, just to try and get it so that they can get at as much as they can to try and get some of that surface rust off there. Now the frame is super clean. That being said, it does look like there's some surface rust. There's no scaling or anything like that, but obviously it just has, you know, 22-year-old rust on it. So the body of the Suburban itself is super clean. I have not been let down there whatsoever. You know, we're looking at virtually no rust. And the fact that this nice 8.1 was leaking oil is to our advantage here. But I mean, yeah, rocker panels are about as good as they come. These AC lines, somebody has zip tied some of these. I'm guessing they came out of the brackets, so we're gonna try and get some of these brackets in there and get that squared away so they don't rub and that they'll be functional, because I do want all the amenities to work back here. There's another set of heater controls and yada yada yada, AC lines that go back here. That plug that you see right there, that gray one kind of hanging cattywampus, that's the same controller as on like pickups. That controls your taillights and all that stuff. Then there's this big bulkhead plug, which is a real pain to get undone. I don't know, must have never been pulled, which doesn't surprise me. But that must be some of your rear controls, but also that, you know, here's the plug itself. It goes to all of this ride control BS that's going on here in these shocks. So I really think I'm just gonna take all that crap off of there. There's just a lot going on here. You know, obviously we have a evap canister and stuff for the gasoline version. We're not going to need that. Like I said, still can't decide if I'm keeping him. I assume this is more to do with the ride control yet. We'll take that bracket off there, just give it a little cleaner look. I'll probably throw a set of nice shocks in here and just not worry about it. I'm hoping that my tuner can kind of take that out of the check engine light more or less and get that out of there so we don't have to worry about getting an error code for this entire system. Here's another one right here. maybe I'll have to do a little more research. Maybe it's a really cool amenity and I'll want to keep it, but I got my doubts. I kind of want this thing mean and leave it alone, dirty and simple. I want you to take a look at this cooling stack. Look at how thin it is. all this extra room here and here, this little bitty transmission cooler, all of this is gonna leave. Physically, we are gonna pick all of this up and take it out and replace it with that, except I don't like those because those are in rough shape, so we're gonna take the AC condenser, the intercooler, and the radiator out of the parts truck LB7 along with our lines, put all that in this core, set it up on there. I also have a new PPE thick transmission cooler, and then we're gonna set all this mess in there once we get it all cleaned up and painted. But that is a few weeks away at the absolute earliest. We have a lot to do before then. I think just as far as mobility goes, I'm not even gonna pull the axles out now. I'm gonna just so I can get it on the trailer and to the sandblasting place. It'll be easier for me to have wheels on it when I do so. So we're gonna get that there. They're gonna blast it. I'm gonna bring it home, get it inside, and try and coat it as soon as possible. We're gonna, at that point, we'll then take the axles out and do the swap. It kind of sucks that I'm gonna have to do it without the hoist because I am extremely spoiled since I put the hoist in here, but that is gonna be completely tied up basically until I can set it down. So unfortunately, I kind of want to make this go fast, but it immobilizes me big time. So some of the bigger jobs that I have left here is going to be a lot of floor jack and some manual labor, but nothing wrong with that. Reminds me, I just got my new AC working in here, and it is about 95 degrees outside, and it is 67 in here. So I'm okay with that. We can keep working. I'm done talking. Let's get to it. My goal today is to get transmission lines off, get the exhaust off, most of it out, four-wheel drive shaft, regular drive shaft, engine mounts, the rest of whatever's hooked up in front, and then try to get this boat anchor out of here. I don't know where exactly I'm going to put it or if I can even lift it. All I have is a cherry picker. I'm going to try to keep it in one assembly. Yeah, I don't think there's any way I'll be able to actually utilize the hoist at this point in time, just because now I have the Suburban body on it. I think my best bet is going to be cherry picker, or worst case scenario, pull it outside, use a skid loader and chain, pick it up. But like I said, hope it doesn't come to that. Try and shimmy some stuff around. Right now I got the LBZ sitting in the booth, Allison hooked to the transfer case, got the cooling stack sitting here, but I don't like the shape of those cooling components, so we're going to put the ones from the part out LB7 in here. I got LB7 parts along the wall. This is very unique situation for me. This booth is normally damn near spotless. I don't keep any parts laying around, so just chomping at the bit here to get all this stuff cleaned up and the hell out of here, or put in something to make it run. So we're gonna get back to it. Not gonna be a lot of talking. I'm just gonna buzz through. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of motor, a lot of transmission to lift out in one piece, but I'll tell you, that's basically like a paperweight compared to the Duramax. That way easier. I could just tell by how easy it was to tug across the floor. It was still a handful, but a lot easier than the one over there. So that's awesome. Got her all out in one piece with the cherry picker. We can set this thing over to the side, and yeah, we're getting closer. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Okie dokie. Well, since I still have both of these in here side by side, figure it's kind of a cool comparison. So starting from back to front, a little backwards, but I believe the transfer case is actually damn near the same. The only thing different from an electronic standpoint is that this has the automatic four-wheel drive option. So if it senses a slip, it locks, whereas the one hooked to the pickup does not have that option. Physically they look the same. I could be completely wrong, but moving up to the transmission, obviously here's the biggest discrepancy. 4L80 Allison 1000 6-speed. So I would guess even the bell housing is probably the same all at the front, but I mean how far this thing necks down and gets to a smaller size even at the tail end. I mean, this thing is damn near twice the size at the back end here. It's a lot beefier, heavier of a transmission, meant more for well, I'm going to use it more for abuse, but for work, there also comes with that a lot more drag in the transmission. And 4L80s actually can take a lot of abuse. A lot of people put them in drag cars and things like that, making a lot of horsepower, do some manual valve body type stuff. Yeah, so not a bad transmission, just different. Then we get to the front of this. So obviously you have a 8.1 liter, 496 cubic inch gasoline, naturally aspirated engine from GM. I believe they only made this a handful of years. This is still a Vortec engine. So I don't know, I haven't really heard any bad things about them, but I guess if they were so great, they probably still would be making them or made them a little longer than they did. On this side, obviously you have the 6.6 liter diesel engine, which is turbocharged. So in the valley of the motor, we still have a V8 configuration here of a motor, both of them. But this one obviously has a charger in the valley. Exhaust system is set up completely different because of the turbo. So naturally aspirated engine, obviously you have two engine exhaust manifolds. One crossover pipe from the driver's side goes underneath to the passenger side, and then your exhaust goes out the back. This side a little bit different. So you have both of your exhaust manifolds go into what you call up pipes, which is from here to the back side, the hot side of the turbo, feeding the turbocharger, mixing your cool air and pushing out the back, and then your one exhaust runs along the passenger side all the way out the back from your downpipe. You also have a fuel filter set up on the Duramax. Got some EGR stuff. None of that stuff exists for the gasoline engine. You obviously have spark plugs, coil packs. Yeah, none of that stuff exists on a Duramax. Your spark ignition here, compression ignition over here. Throttle body doesn't exist over here. Yeah, a bunch of different stuff. Your AC compressors on top. That might be where things get a little bit hairy. On this side of it, I might have to make some AC lines or something, because on this, obviously, we're down at the bottom corner here. Big hefty line. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work yet. I'm hoping that I can just find a way to mount that one on here. I don't know how all that's going to work yet. This is going to be kind of a gut it, since it's sitting here, tear it down, and then make sure everything is going to reach where it needs to before it gets in the chassis. So last but not least, looking at, your power steering is the same, alternator is on a different side, but your cooling fan. So this is what cools your engine, pulls your engine or your outside air through your cooling stack, which is right here, to cool your engine. It gets your oil cooled, your Freon air moving through your AC condenser, and your coolant for your engine. This side, I mean, substantially larger, and I believe, no, this is a mechanical fan with a clutch on it. So sometimes they have an electronic fan. Maybe not. Neither of these ever came with an electronic fan. I know some of the small block Chevys did. The LS is the 6 liters, and the 5.3s came with an electronic fan. But either way, yeah, you pretty much got the rundown here. I don't know exactly what this one weighs. I assume that's around that 1,500 pounds. And if I were to take a stab at it, I'd say it's probably about 1,000. maybe a hair more. Both very, very heavy. Pretty much the heaviest duty options that came on medium duty trucks for a number of years. So got two of the biggest boys swinging here. We are going to be replacing that with that, and super excited to do so. Yep, we got a couple more things to take care of here at the Yukon teardown. There's some heat shields, which I had actually never seen before. They definitely do not have these in the truck frames. These aluminum, or maybe they're probably just sheet steel, but regardless, those got to come out. I am going to probably leave the control arms, axles, and all this jazz in here for a number of reasons, mainly because it's going to be easier for me to move this thing around with wheels on it. I am going to drop both of the tanks. I'm going to leave the brake line just because I am anal that way and I want them to look factory, which they are right now, and I do not have the patience to run them back a second time to make them look as nice as they do from factory. So they are in really good shape. I'm going to have the guys that are sandblasting this thing, I'm going to say, hey, just hit them, don't hammer them, and try and get around them the best you can. But at the end of the day, if I got to pull a couple brackets off later with my little hand speed blaster and finish the job, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull all these clips out of here. These are all for a wiring system for the O2 sensors that are on the exhaust, which is no longer going to be there. Still haven't quite decided what we're doing to this stupid system yet, this ride crap. There's a company that makes plugs for all of them, so you don't get the check engine light. I believe it's a couple $100. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. I might leave it in there. I might throw new shocks in there. I haven't got that far yet. That's peanuts. We can always do that later. Anyways, got to take the cooling stack out. That's the biggest thing yet. Front bumper, rear bumper. Yeah, that might be damn near everything we got to take out before this thing gets taken to go get sandblasted. So I believe I have a half a day of work tomorrow, and then the following day I have off. So tomorrow I'm going to try and finish taking the rest of this stuff out, get it outside, pressure wash some of this grease. I believe that the sandblasting guys will appreciate that. I know sometimes grease causes a lot of issues with sand sticking and not blowing stuff off. Plus, all that gummy crap is going to be mixed in their sand, and they probably like to recycle as much as they can. So, and I'm not worried about it flash rusting because obviously it's about to get sandblasted. It's going to come back white. So, we're going to get everything stripped as much as we can, all the wiring, all that, label the rest of what we got, take it all off, ship it off to get sandblasted, and that is where we're going to leave it this week. And then in the meantime, we got plenty of other things to do. We got some upgrades for the Duramax engine itself with fuel. We got air, two of the main things you need to make a diesel go, go. So we're going to be doing that. In the meantime, I'm going to be putting together a cooling stack, figuring out the difference between the one that's in here and the one that came out of the donor truck. But these coolers are in terrible condition. I do have a new heavy-duty trans cooler, but I'm going to install. But even the condenser and everything else look pretty dented up. I might leave the radiator. There's not too much here. Regardless, it just needs a really, really good wash. So get everything cleaned out and get this thing ready to drop back in the chassis when we get it back. It's a mouthful. It's a lot of stuff happening. Appreciate everybody sticking along for the ride. It's going to continue to get more exciting as we start piecing this thing together, but at this point in time, we are still in teardown mode. There's a lot of things to prep.